Alright, so I don't need to do this, but I feel the need to because people just have me figured out all wrong, alright? If most of you who follow me on Twitter obviously know what this is probably about, alright? Tuesday was it? I think it was Tuesday. Mark Rubin came out and said that Call of Duty Ghosts would be 720p native on Xbox One and 1080p native on PS4. Now, most people started flipping out about this and were very confused as to why this brand new next generation console Microsoft is making cannot output one of the most basic, generic looking graphical games out there at a native 1080p resolution. And like many of you guys, I was surprised. I was very surprised at this. Then it turned out that you know, a couple people were talking to me and they're like, "Oh, resolution doesn't matter," and it turned into this whole fight. All right, I don't need to name anyone because it's just not necessary, and I don't need to point fingers because there's nothing to point. All right, it's all a matter of personal opinion. I'm sorry that I care about the graphics of next-gen games. I'm sorry I care that I want to have the best possible experience for my money. People seem to think that when I complain about a game not being 1080p native or even 900p native on the Xbox One when the PlayStation 4 can do it so easily for some reason, people seem to think like, all you care about is graphics, it's the game that matters. Of course it's the fucking game that matters. I'm not saying, never once did I say, oh, this game's gonna suck now because it's playing in 720p. I expressed interest and confusion, of course, like any of you guys would. I mean, I care about how my game looks. When you look at a game like Beyond Two Souls, don't tell me, that game just had generic graphics, it would have been the same. The graphics immerse you in the environment, and they immerse you in the story and the game itself. It doesn't make the gameplay any better. Look at Crysis 3. This is the first one, an actual good Crysis, but look at Crysis 3. That game sucked. Its story was awful. It was pretty, but it was just boring. It was just a really boring game. Look, and Battlefield 4, that was another thing we were talking about. Battlefield 4 being 900p native on the PS4 and 720p. That's not much. That's not as big of a difference as 1080p on PS4 and 720p on Xbox One. But I mean, never once am I sitting here saying the graphics of games are the sole thing that matters next gen. It does matter to a certain extent. Don't sit there and try to downplay graphics because honestly, I mean, things have to progress forward and new standards have to be set in place. This is a brand new console generation, a brand new set of games and series with some, you know, old ones from last gen returning. And there should be new standards set in place. Brand new hardware too. There's nothing for the developers to learn. These consoles are built exactly like PCs. Exactly. They're off-the-shelf PC parts. There is nothing like the cell processor that they have to sit there and you know, tinker with to try and get their game to look great and perform well. These consoles are built exactly like PCs. The whole theme this generation was to make development easy and efficient, and it's happening. And I'm sorry, but yes, the PlayStation 4 has a hardware advantage over the Xbox One, as you know, shown in some of these third-party popular games. But I mean, let's be honest. I'm getting both consoles here, all right, and I'm getting both consoles because I want to play the games on each. I'm excited to play Quantum Break. I'm excited to play Titanfall. I'm excited to play Rise and Forza Motorsport 5. I'm excited to play those. If all I cared about was graphics and the games didn't matter to me, I would just stick with a PC for God's sakes, which would be stupid because the consoles have such great exclusive games that you can't get anywhere else but on those platforms. I mean, seriously. I'm sorry I care about graphics. I'm sorry I want my game to look good. I'm sorry I want to be immersed in the environment and see the emotions in characters' faces and not sit there And, you know, I could nitpick all day if I wanted to about both versions. But literally, like, I never once did I ever say that the game is gonna be horrible now because it's not playing in 720p. All I said was I'm getting it on the better platform because that's the most logical thing. If I had the choice to get a better looking game, all right, on a platform with, you know, without even like going out of my way, it's like if I had the choice to get the better version of a game, I'm gonna get it on that platform. And I'm sorry. I'm making a logical decision here. I really am. That's all. All right. I don't need to talk about this anymore. All right. I'm done. And I'm sorry, but no one needs to like go deleting me off Facebook and deleting me on Twitter and stuff because my opinion and my standards differ from yours. Let's stop being kids about this. All right. Oh, and another thing. I don't play games to cuss people out and to make fun of their mother. Alright, it doesn't matter. The challenging, like, competitive aspect of games is not the reason I play video games. I play video games for the overall experience. I'm more of a campaign guy than a multiplayer guy. Most of you guys know this. I find it really awesome when developers sit there and say, let's develop a single-player only game, especially in a market like this. That is a very, very challenging and a tough move to make and tough direction to go in, especially when people are sitting there and they won't even spend $60 unless your game has a multiplayer. It's ridiculous. So I don't care if you can snipe me from a different country. It doesn't matter to me. It honestly doesn't. I play too many games to sit there and care about what your kill-death ratio is in a multiplayer game. It doesn't matter to me. And you know, it sucks. It sucks when we can appreciate pretty graphics. It sucks when we can appreciate pretty graphics, but when we actually care if the game looks good or not, it's like considered like morally wrong. It's like you can say the graphics are really pretty and that you appreciate the graphics. Oh, but you can't talk about how the game looks before it's released or express your opinion if the game looks like crap. It just doesn't matter. The bottom line is this. I don't have to run my opinion by anyone. By anyone at all. I don't have to seek anyone's approval when I say something because this is the internet and people can post whatever the hell they want and talk about whatever the hell they want. And I'm sorry if people have a different opinion. I'm sorry, but that is simply not my problem. It's not my problem to make everyone happy and to have my fake friends pat me on the back and say, you know, you're such a good guy, man. I'm glad you think like us and do like us. Good job, man. I'll do and think however I want to. It's my life and it's my opinion, and I don't have to change it for anyone's personal gain whatsoever, so they can just feel better about theirs. It's a stupid internet, and that's all. I mean, YouTube, a bunch of arrogance on YouTube, but seriously, everyone has different opinions, and everyone's valid in in their arguments that they make to a certain extent, of course. I'm done with this. I'm not going to talk about this. I don't want anyone to contact me and ask me questions. Just leave me the hell alone with this and let's move on, because it's a piece of plastic that just plays games at the end of the day. Alright? I just want to be able to play games in the best possible format that I can play them. And I guess that's such a horrible thing to want. I guess I'm considered like some, I don't know, like I guess I'm like the Jews to the Nazis in that way. Ridiculous.